Sheikh Mohammed. A senior administration official says White House advisors may now recommend holding Mohammed's trial in a military court instead of a civilian court in New York. The official says advisors are hopeful a decision will be made before the president leaves for an overseas trip on March 18th. Let's check in with our legal guys on this case and many others. Avery Friedman is a civil rights attorney and law professor, and Richard Herman is a New York criminal defense attorney and law professor. Good to see both of you.
Hi, Frederica.
Okay, well, I wonder if both of you have some thoughts on kind of the legal merit of this possible about face. Richard, you first. It may have potentially taken place in New York, and now the White House saying maybe not. Let's reconsider this whole military court. What are your thoughts?
Well, when the mayor of New York says, you know, it doesn't belong in New York City, this trial, we shouldn't have it here, and that's Bloomberg, I think that the powers that be take that very seriously. New legislation by McCain and others are being promulgated to have these type of cases tried in military tribunals only. I think, Fred, I really believe that's where this case is headed.
All right. And Avery?
Frederica, I am thunderstruck that a president, our president, who's a former constitutional law professor, would ever permit a cut and run from trying a case in a federal district court where all these cases belong. The idea that we would experiment with a military tribunal, which has little experience, and the law keeps changing with that, as opposed to our tried and true federal court, is astonishing to me. He's indicated a decision will be made by March 18th, Frederica, but I'm hoping he's going to stick to his guns and keep the case in New York.
All right, well, let's talk about a case that is right now in a civilian court, and we're talking about an imam, Akram Musa Abdallah. Richard, you first. He has apparently expressed that he's not happy with what he calls FBI trickery in questioning him, and we're also in the sentencing phase. Where is this case going? It's not necessarily one that resonates with a whole lot of people, but why does this matter?
It does matter, Fred. It matters because the judge commented on the abuse that the FBI heaped on this guy. He got sentenced to 18 months. That was the low end on the plea deal he made for allegedly lying to FBI agents about fundraising. We don't know where the truth stops with this guy and begins, because he had been pushed by FBI agents to change his story to fit their vision of the case. Fred, Avery, I'm telling you, this happens all the time in the United States. I've seen it happen with an FBI agent in New York where he interviewed government witnesses, didn't like the interview, and tore up the interviews.
Well,
I've seen it by a federal prosecutor in Orlando, the Middle District, do the same thing. They get a vision of the case, Fred, and they force their witnesses to mold their versions to fit their case.
Richard, the broad brush of painting the FBI like that, I don't think is fair at all. I think this is a case where, and that's what it sounds like, though, because this imam, this individual right now had something to do with other individuals, Najibullah Zazi, who the week before was convicted of trying with two others to blow up New York subways. The fact is that I think the sentence is just. It's a proper thing. It worked in this case. Another successful terrorist-related trial in New York federal court. Good thing that happened here.
Okay, well, let's stick
I'm not criticizing the sentence. Wait, I'm not criticizing the sentence. I'm criticizing the tactics used by our government. That spoils the entire judicial system if our government is forcing witnesses to lie so they mold their testimony to fit the vision of the prosecutor or the FBI agent.
Too broad brush against the FBI.
No, it happens.
There may be examples.
Too broad brush.
No, I don't agree.